Chapter 13. Master Wingfield is no longer our president. He's under arrest, locked up in the Discovery, and a private store of wine, dried beef, eggs, oatmeal, and other good food has been shared equally among all of us. He says he was keeping it to dole out if we ran out of provisions, but that doesn't keep the council from voting him down. Now we have Captain Ratliff as our president, and Captain Smith says we're gone from the frying pan into the fire. Reverend Hunt is looking much better. Many of us have gave him some of our share of eggs and meat, and so he has been eating well for days. We've had rain, too, getting drenching of storms. We've caught it in buckets and barrels to drink, and the river is no longer so salty. The rainwater tastes so sweet I think it had honey in it. Reverend Hunt has the color in his cheeks again and is able to lead Sunday service for the first time in many weeks. Captain Smith has taken all of the credit for discovering Master Wingfield's stash, and for that I'm grateful. Henry has no idea it was me who told, and so he has no compulsion to kill me. Richard is much better now, too. I'm relieved. I decide to take the first step towards becoming his friend. Richard, do you want to see my sword, I ask one day, when he says, coming up and looking stronger. I could show you some of what Captain Smith is teaching me. Richard looks at me wearily as if he thinks this could be a trick. I just thought you might be interested, I say quickly. I look down. There is a silence between us, and Richard says, Are you ready to fight a duel yet? I cringe. Is he challenging me to a duel? But when I look up, he's grinning. Not yet, I tell him. But Captain Smith says I'm learning well. Come on, I'll show you a couple things. I let Richard try on my armor and have him fasten the belt around his waist so he can feel the weight of the sword, too. He pulls the sword out of the sheath and holds it in both hands. I tell him about Captain Smith teaching me the footwork, the sword work, and suddenly Richard closes his eyes and a look of pure sadness comes over his face. Richard, what is it? Are you going to faint? I never should have had him try on heavy armor when he's barely well. He shakes his head. James, he says, if... He stops himself from crying. I know, I said. I've thought about it 100 times. If only James had armor, he might still be alive. Richard nods, grateful that I have said what he was thinking. Then a thought strikes me. Richard, you need armor. So many have died, there must be extra. Let's go talk to Captain Smith. Together we go to Captain Smith to ask, and he takes a good look at Richard. He's a couple of inches shorter than I am and somewhat wider. Captain Smith scratches and his beard, thinking, No one as slight as Master Clovel has died, but we will cut some armor down to fit you. The blacksmith is put to work to remake a chest plate. The first time Richard stands wearing his armor, he grins at me, and I know I am on my way to making a friend. Captain Smith decides that now that some of us are well, every able-bodied man must be skilled at using a musket. He gathers the men who are new to the weapons, the commoners and servants, to begin training. He shows us how to keep the slow match burning in by blowing the ash off every few minutes, and how to use it to ignite the gunpowder. We learn each step, prime the pan, charge the piece with the powder, and put the musket ball, ram down the charge, cock the match. We use a big tree with a mark on it as a target. The first time I fire my musket, the kick nearly throws me onto the ground. I miss the tree completely, but so do most of the others. By the end of our training session, my ears are ringing, my arms are sore, and I smell like gunpowder. But I have hit the mark 3 times. Captain Smith says we will continue to train each week until that tree is full of musket shots. The extra rations for Master Clovel do not last long, and soon we are back to wormy grains. I wonder why the natives do not mount another raid if they really want us gone. There are hardly 50 of us left, and those that are left are half-starved and weak. Maybe they're just letting starvation finish us off, I think. Outside the fort is plenty of food, fish, oysters, rabbits, and berries, but there are also Indians hiding in the trees. No one has the courage to venture out any farther than is necessary to dig the graves for our dead. Then, one day, I hear words I've been dreading. Savages, arm yourselves, we're under attack. I hear the scraping of metal as the guards load the canyons. This is it, I think. They've been watching, waiting, maybe even counting our burials. They know we only have a few men left. They've come to wipe out our colony. Richard and I hurry to put on our armor and ready our muskets. Soon we hear shouts from outside the fort, but these are not shrill battle cries I have expected. They are calls of Wingapo. Richard and I run to the front gates of the fort. The gates have been thrown wide open, and the natives, men, women, and children are walking in. They look around curiously at our rotting tents, the big iron pot hanging over the cook fire. They all carry baskets, and when we see what's in them, I gasp. They are filled with bread, corn, fish, meat, squash, and berries. The smell of fresh bread makes me nearly faint with hunger. One of our soldiers tries to grab a chunk of the basket, but the Indian man holding it puts a hand up abruptly to stop him. Captain Smith comes forward and speaks in Algonquin with our visitors. I listen closely, trying to understand what they are saying. They are here to trade. They will give us food of their recent harvest in exchange for copper, hatchets, swords, and muskets. Captain Smith nods agreeably, and I wonder if he will actually give them swords and muskets. The Virginia Company has given strict orders never to let Indians have their hands on our weapons. Captain Smith translates for our leaders, and our visitors say that within the Powhatan Empire there are tribes who are our friends and some who are enemies. Our enemies are the tribes closest to us because they feel we are encroaching on their land. They are the Pisapa, whose land we're on, and also the Weenak and the Amatuk, and the Kiskak and the Koyahanakak. Our friends are the Aratuk, the Pumpki, and the Padampanami, and the Yukatanand. Those who are friends will intercede for us with our enemies. They will try to convince them that we pose no threat, that we are only using a small piece of land and are not making war with them. They also tell us we should cut down the tall grass near our fort because that's where our enemies are hiding when they shoot us. Captain Smith tells us we are thankful for their message and their peacekeeping efforts. Then he invites them to sit in our common eating area around our fire pit. We all watch them hungrily as they negotiate trading, and Captain Smith drives a hard bargain. He will not give away a single bead cheaply. By the time the Indians leave, all of the baskets of food have become ours. They leave with some colorful beads, mirrors, bells, needles, pins, several pieces of copper, and 3 hatchets. Captain Smith does not trade a single sword or musket.